Okay, anyway, welcome everybody to Facebook Live. I am super excited about today. We are going to have a little bit of fun. We're trying to predict the fourth quarter in Canada. And sorry, don't have time for United States. No, I'm only kidding. But a lot of people have already predicted on the United States. So we're going to look a little bit about the fourth quarter, and then we're going to talk just a little bit about answering some of those questions that we're getting all the time, which is how to build your business in the fourth quarter and what we really should be working on. So I'm going to give you a little bit of heads up. So I'm super excited. This is very nerve-wracking for me. Not a lot of people, when COVID started, we, full disclosure, nobody knows what the hell is going to happen in the fourth quarter. So this is really just a lot of research. I am absolutely not a pandemic specialist, nor am I an economist. I am basing it on what we've sort of looked around, what we've sort of seen come down the pipeline in Canada, and where I think, in my experience, just talking with over 700 clients and looking at where things are going to go, where I think things are going to go. So I could be right, I could be wrong, but I believe in leaning in. You know what? When COVID started, we really pushed. So I'm not going to answer any Q&As today. I'm going to get right into it. But when COVID started, one of the things I was most proud about as a real estate and a business coach myself is we leaned in. Okay, we looked at numbers. It's one of the things I do really well is I look at what's coming down the pipeline and I pay attention to it, and I'm pretty good at putting things together as far as that goes. So I'm nervous to talk about this. However, I'm also at the same token feeling very confident about some of my statements as well. So I know that there's always going to be people who are going to disagree, and this could be looked back at a few months from now, and I'm either going to be massively wrong or going to be massively right. Just remember is that a lot of the reports right now are basing our economy in Canada based on the fact that we should have a cure, or not a cure, a vaccine for the virus by about mid next year. Again, I don't see any proof that that's actually going to happen. The companies that we're ordering from have not had any success from what I've read online with the vaccine. So I'm a little concerned about what that's going to look like. And the longer this drags out, if we get into a very aggressive round two, then there is going to be some volatile things happening with the economy. So every prediction is really based on things that are going to be a little bit different as far as having a vaccine in place and things like that. So there is a positive side to this that we're looking at as well. So we may have to revise this in 30 days, right? So here's the thing. Right now, Canada is in the deepest recession in Canadian economy. Whether you believe it or not, it is. Numbers show that it is. It's the deepest recession that we've ever been through. That obviously creates a big concern for me. The economy dropped about 18%. During the initial phases of COVID in the Canadian economy. And what's really interesting is it's actually right now sitting at only about 6% pre-COVID. So it's actually rebounded way stronger than they anticipated. So a lot of people expected the economy not to rebound quite as quickly. So there's some really good recovery that we're seeing, which is awesome. I mean, that's really good to be to go from 18% and see a recovery now that puts us around that 6% pre-COVID economy. That's excellent. So I'm very happy about that. The things that we're not, and we're going to cover a lot of stuff in a very short period of time. The record-breaking growth, though, they are predicting is going to lose a little bit of momentum. You're already kind of seeing it. So remember, that was record-breaking growth. The recovery will remain. I think what we're going to see is a little bit uneven. We're seeing some ebbs, we're seeing some flows. We're going into very uncharted territory, so I think that's very normal. But the biggest jump and the biggest peaks, I think, have already happened, and we're seeing it across the board. Unemployment, everything, it's been really interesting to see that. So stronger recovery is definitely positive. Watch out who you vote in Canada. As far, we're not talking presidential elections, that's a whole different ballgame, but when you're going locally in your communities and whatnot, be really cautious about who you choose to vote in. It should be people who have a lot of experience with economic growth, about rebounding, about revitalizing job opportunities and things like that, because one person that I interviewed a week ago was very scary. I almost really was worried about that one. But anyway, that's a whole different story. Analysts are saying in Canada that if a vaccine comes into play and we don't have a severe breakout, a second phase of the breakout, they're saying that we could have a full recovery by the end of 2021. That would be amazing. So that's one of the reasons why I try not to get involved in a lot of those conversations online about not wearing a mask or this is garbage or this is that. Look, I'm just as confused as the next person. I don't understand a lot of the stuff that's happening right now. So I never want to bullshit about that, but I want to be, Facebook is going to kick me off because I swear again. Ugh. Anyway, let me just see. No, I'm still on, which is good. Anyway, every time I swear they kick me off. But anyway, analysts are saying that if everything goes well in the, in the trajectory, we should see a recovery by the end of 2021. I think that's very positive. Where that doesn't go positive is in a few different areas, okay? If this extends or we have a really bad breakout and it mixes with the flu and it doesn't go well, then that's not gonna be good. On the plus side, if you do look at it, they're saying about the flu, which I think is really interesting information. This is going to be, so far, if you go to, I believe it's Influenza report, there's an influenza report that Canada does, and it's absolutely fantastic to watch that. We're showing that it's 0.05% of cases right now of influenza coming up. So that's record breaking. They have not seen such low cases of influenza for obvious reasons, but they have not seen it this low in 6 to 9 flu seasons. So it's historically at its lowest they've seen in such a long time. That's amazing. Okay, so when you look at that, we're doing a really good job with some of the things with influenza. I mean, what I think would be really cool is if we could have, maybe we can actually for the first time eliminate influenza. I mean, that would just be remarkable. So anyway, that's a really good positive thing. So here's the other thing. The government has done an amazing job with actually providing a lot of income. That's keeping a lot of things going in the economy. So the amount of money, although it's very shocking and it's very hard because we have not seen that kind of money. Like there's so much money. The debt is, it's terrible. But anyway, the point is that they've done a great job with being generous. And even though it's hard to look at that and see all the money that's being given, is the reality is low interest rates keep the debt payment really manageable. And that's not just for people, but that's for the government as well. So that's actually not such, it's bad, but remember, low interest keeps the debt payments manageable. That's really what you want to look at. Interest rates, they're saying, are going to remain stable until about 2023. So, and again, I have all the stuff. If anybody's like, where did you get that stat or where did you get that? It's no problem. We are happy to share that. These are not guessing statistics that I'm pulling. I don't guess on things. I put pieces together and then come up with a formula, but these things are not guessed. So interest rates are said to remain stable until 2023. Canadian dollar, of course, will remain flat because of oil and other things as well. So when you're looking at that, I mean, that's really good because as long as those interest rates stay low, debt repayment is really manageable, but also it's keeping people spending and whatnot. My concern right now is we have 4 million people that are on SERB, and we have a lot of mortgage deferrals that have happened in Canada. That's 4 million people that are currently on SERB. SERB is transitioning out. We all know that. This is where I'm concerned. 2 million people will automatically be transitioned. They will qualify for that transition. The remaining 2 million people, which by the way, statistics in Canada are showing that that affects the younger generation and women in business. Very surprising to see that as well, but I would guess that home care and taking care of children is playing a big factor into how that's affecting them. So out of the 2 million that are going to be without SERB, they have to apply to one of the 3 different options that have been given. And they're a little concerned that not all of them are actually going to be able. That's 2 million people that are going to have to every week or every couple weeks have to apply for funding. That's going to have some pressure and constraints on things. So I am very concerned about that portion. They're predicting probably, I think it's, what is it, about 7.2% by the end of 2021. It's an interesting prediction that they're anticipating with unemployment as far as where it's going to be at the end of 2021 in Canada. I think 7.2 is manageable, still very high for a country, but I think it, hopefully, fingers crossed, by the end of 2021, we should see some really positive stuff there. The slowest recovery areas, of course, that you have to watch out for right now are accommodations, food services, cultural stuff, recreation, and entertainment. Those industries are hit hard, very hard. They're going to be hit even harder in the winter time. The concern I have about that and how it affects maybe the real estate and the business and all the stuff that's going in there is that those economies that are slow slowly recovering, they're going to have a chain effect. Okay, so remember this. If you're seeing some of those industries, they've been able to hang on, but come this winter, we're headed snow, we're going to have the cold weather. A lot of things are going to probably decrease their spendings. Companies that are coming back are going to pull spending. That's normal. That's going to happen. There's a supply chain effect that you really have to think about. I think it's going to affect, see, it hasn't affected middle and upper class yet. My guess is middle and upper class, management level, people who own homes, they're going to see the impact of the economy probably in the fourth quarter. I don't believe that there's going to be a fire sale on houses or anything like that. I believe what's going to happen is people in Canada are sitting on such high equity in those areas. So middle and upper class are sitting on investment properties and equity and other properties and cottages and things like that. And they've already started selling, as you saw, some of their cottage properties. There was a big push on that. But what I also see is that there's going to be some decisions saying, hey, we're sitting on 10 investment properties or 3 investment properties, and that one has 400,000 equity in it. What are we really keeping it for? Let's get rid of it. So I think you're going to see things like that happen, which is why I don't see any big crashes. But I definitely think the middle and upper class of businesses are going to see the effects of what's happening, because those 4 million people who have been getting SERB, again, 2 million are going to be put on something automatic, but 2 million aren't. Okay. So consumer spending, again, let's talk about that. If consumers are spending in the economy, okay, then everything keeps ticking around. Again, that's why I think that the fourth quarter may have a little bit of a slowdown. However, what happened is that disposable income increased by 55% in the second quarter. Okay, but there was a drop in consumer spending. So even though they were getting all that stuff, the consumers stopped spending a little bit naturally, not entirely, but basically disposable income increased by 55%, drop in consumer spending. Rise in income and falling in spending, okay, think about it. Rise in income, falling in spending gave the average household in Canada a savings of 28% in the second quarter. Record-breaking high, okay? That means 28% increase in household savings. That's pretty good for a country with such a high debt service ratio. So I thought that was really excellent. Hence why you're seeing the spending was a lot on household items. Pools, hot tubs, renovations. If my neighbor down the road does one more renovation on his property, I'm literally going to charge him to sit in front of my property. I mean, it's been crazy. So people are reinvesting into household items and household renovations, making improvements to their house, using, you know, the low interest rates and the high amount of savings that they're getting, the 28% increase and all that kind of stuff. They're using it in their houses. And that's also why you're seeing some improvements made on housing, and you're seeing people move. You're seeing, you know, all these household items like couches, furniture, this, that. You're even seeing vehicles through the roof. So anyway, it's very interesting what we're seeing there. As far as resale homes go, and we're covering this a lot, again, because I'm just watching the time. We're making sure that you understand a little bit about what's happening in Canada and where some of these facts are kind of giving me the ability to say this is where I really think we're going to go. Resale homes right now, they're outpacing, so the sales are outpacing the listings that are coming up. I think anybody in Canada knows that that's actually happening. In July, we saw a 30% jump in sales as opposed to the previous July. So that's actually really important to see as well. So that was a good boost. I think a lot of people talked about that. We talked about that back in May. We were going to start to see pent-up demands. It's the lower interest rates. It's the opportunity that people are looking at going, this is the time to do it, yada, yada, whole 9 yards. I think what we're also seeing is it went up so tremendously, and we haven't seen, okay, so right now we're sitting about 73% of listings to sale ratio, meaning like we're about 73% stronger in the marketplace, and we haven't seen a market like this, a listing market, and I almost puked when I did the numbers, since 2000, which was 20 years ago. But this is starting to be like a very similar market to the year 2000. And if anybody remembers that, which I do, I was only 10 years old, but if you're going back to a market of what it was like in the year 2000, again, a lot of demand, except we have super, super low interest rates, so I can't see the prices dropping. I'm not seeing that, okay, as long as rates stay low. biggest thing that we are seeing, which is an early trend that I'm seeing in Canada, and I haven't found, and I did a lot of research over the past couple of weeks, I haven't seen this, but I am seeing massive stops, massive starts, massive stops, massive starts. I saw it in the United States first, and now I'm seeing it with some of I saw a little bit of it in Quebec, not seeing a lot of it in Ontario. I've seen it in other provinces, but we're seeing stops, starts. And what I mean by that in real estate is, I mean, we're not seeing prices drop, but we're seeing 40 offers per property one week, and then boom, another week, one. Okay, or we're seeing price adjustments happen. And when you start to see things like that, that's a good indicator that you're sitting on very fragile markets. You're not sitting on a market, I don't think, that is going to be dropping. I don't see things just dropping. Some markets are showing softness, like Toronto condo markets and things like that. However, I don't see crashes happening. If the recovery, look at how fast we talked about the recovery, okay? And if interest rates are going to maintain historically low rates up until about 2023, I think you're not going to see that the prices are going to crash. I think the spring is going to be crazy busy. Like, I really believe this spring is going to be crazy busy. I do think that we don't know where things are going to go right now. So because we're seeing a little bit of that middle and upper class just be affected in the fourth quarter, and we're going to see that transition of people coming off of SERB and perhaps consumer spending, which they're saying retail should get a bit of a jump in consumer spending in Canada in the fourth quarter. I think what we're seeing there is, I think the listings are still going to be very hard to find in November and December. I think we're going to see a very, very pullback, and we're going to see people who really are urgently selling, or they're going to do a lot of those in-house projects in November, December, and January, and then boom, get on the market as soon as that's done. So I do think, if I was guessing, there is no proof of this whatsoever, but if I was guessing, I would guess that November, December, and January, if you're looking to sell your houses for like massive, excellent prices, I think that's actually going to be a very hot market for sellers, but I think it'll be hard to find the sellers for those 3-month periods. So I think that'll be really interesting. So I think that it's very important, if you're in real estate, to get those listing appointments. If you're looking at what's coming down your pipeline, I would be really looking at listings and going heavy on the appointments and saying who absolutely is cool with selling their houses. Because historically in Canada, our markets they are a little bit seasonal. When the snow comes, well, we know what happens. Winter is coming. Anyway, I saw the first forecast of snow in Ontario was yesterday. So anyway, the point is that that's a little bit nerve-wracking. So I think if I was a gambling person, I would say October is going to be very strong again. But we are seeing, like I said, the one thing that's keeping me a little bit concerned is I'm seeing that boom, 40 offers one week, none the next. Very odd that that's happening. And what we're seeing is that it seems to be directly tied to consumer confidence. So when we saw one market in Canada last week, it was up, and then it literally, boom. An agent that we coached was like, I put 20 listings on and they got nothing. They couldn't believe it. And when we tied it in, it was exactly when the media was saying second wave, announcements, not good, things don't look good. So the more the media pushes on the doom and gloom and the scare tactics, or things get really worse, we're seeing that the consumer confidence, the minute the consumers feel like things are going a little bit sideways, we're seeing the markets drop right down. Okay, that's usually just pauses. Or what we like to look at is, I call them pauses. That's all I call them since March. I called them pauses. I don't necessarily mean that it's a pivot, but I do think that you're going to see that in the market. You're going to see strong pause. It's going to depend on what the consumers are hearing. It's going to depend on what news is coming out. At this point, I think what we're seeing is so many people just want to get a sense of normalcy back. They're frustrated. They're really annoyed. A high level of annoyance is happening right now. You're seeing it all over Facebook, people fighting with each other. We're even seeing it, we're experiencing it. You can't even post anything now about COVID without getting attacked. You can't do things. It's a very sensitive time. People just want a sense of normalcy. This is a very confusing time, and they're starting to question what's going on. So we feel that the housing industry is going to provide a lot of that. It's something that people still have complete control over. Nobody, they're feeling good about that. They're going, well, the world is crashing around us. We're being told not to do this, but our house prices are going way up here. That helps with consumer confidence. So the more you hear the news, though, come back with bad stuff, is the more you're going to see the consumer confidence drop. And that's why I think we're seeing the early indicator that When the bad news happens, it's crashing out of market. When the good news, after a week later, it's pulling the market back up. So I think we're going to see that carry through, which should be quite interesting as far as that goes. What we're also seeing, consumer loyalty, gone. Okay, so meaning consumer loyalty is disappearing faster than you can imagine. Consumers are going, and I would say almost 80%. It used to be that consumers were highly loyal to people, but we're seeing consumers now want to go with realtors or businesses that have evolved. They want to protect themselves because we don't know where things are going to go. And again, people are stockpiling. They're going, okay, you know what? We got to do this, we got to do that. But consumer loyalty is not the same as it used to be. Okay, people are willing to try new things. They are trying new things. If somebody reaches out to them, they're dropping their realtor. They're using new realtors. Oh, you have a better online program. Oh, you can sell my house in the winter without me having to worry about getting COVID. There's a lot of things that consumers are willing to try new things. This is a new era. This is also an evolution in a way. So you have to look at that and really say to yourself, you know what? If you're a business owner watching this, you need to continue to evolve. 100%. This is also in Canada. One of the things I've sort of looked at is what I'm very excited about is this, is in Canada, I don't want to say we're archaic, but I sometimes feel like we live in a country that I don't understand how I can go on Amazon.com and have a product there, and yet I can't get it on Amazon.ca delivered to Canada. How does that happen? Why is that happening? How come I can get books on Audible.com but I can't get them on audible.ca, and it's a freaking download? What's happening? I find Canada, and please don't torch me on this one, I find Canada highly lacking innovation. It doesn't have the same innovations. We can't even get technology. There's some real estate companies out there who, how come we can't get technology to work in freaking Canada that works in the United States? I don't understand it. It's driving me bananas, okay? So we're not, in my opinion, one of the most innovative countries around. If you look at my local real estate board, I would be shocked if they didn't actually still have stalls for horses and carriages there. I'm actually saying that. I feel like we've totally, even the real estate, if you look at Korea and you look at Rico, you look at all of that, it is actually so archaic in what they're doing. I don't even know why we pay fees. It just doesn't even matter. Like in my head, I have a hard time with that. But in general, in business, this is that moment where I actually think that Canada, with all the funding and all the stuff coming out there, this is going to be the period of innovation. So I believe that this is the time where we're going to see real estate teams innovate, going to that next level. Now they have a chance to just take a breath for a second and say, okay, we've recovered. Most of the teams are back on track, and business is feeling a little bit more like it's back into play again. But don't stop evolving your business. You've got to still be willing to do and say, okay, what did consumers not like about what just happened technology-wise? What did they love? How can I change? What do consumers really want? Are they still terrified that people are going to come in through open houses? Should we still be evolving that? How do we manage that over the winter? When it's flu season, we have to be a lot more careful. Do not stop evolving. Evolve. And I think in Canada, like I said, we're going to see businesses evolve into this really cool place. I'm just checking time. Okay, here we go. I got 7 minutes left. All right, so we're going to see the evolution of where businesses go. The loyalty, though, big one. Call every client. Don't send a random email, call. For those of you who have big email lists with no phone numbers, that means you don't really know the people. Do a custom video and send it out and be like, hey, listen, it's Marianne. You know what? I know I spoke to you over the past year about thinking of buying or thinking of selling. Look, there's a lot of things happening in our marketplace. If you're thinking of doing something either the next 3 months or the next 3 months after that, so the first 3 months of 2021 or the final 3 months, please reach out to us. We're going to update you on some things that are happening in the pipeline. And we're seeing a lot of people responding to the videos, okay? So that's for dead databases, as we like to call them, where you don't have all the contact info. People that you do know, reach out to them. Find out what they are doing in Q4. Do they need your help with anything that you should be scheduling a follow-up with? I don't care what business you're in. If you're a personal trainer, where are you going? You know, what are you doing? Okay, what's going to happen in the fourth quarter? Well, I was riding my bike the other day, and this guy comes up to me and he just starts talking to me. By the way, nothing weird about that. It's very normal on the parkway that people pull up and they'll just ride with you for a couple miles, shoot the shit, Well, sorry, Facebook. And then they'll zoom out. Okay, so he was talking to me, and he's a ski instructor, and he was telling me all about how they're going to be pivoting, doing different things on the ski hills, and how they're preparing for it. You should do the same with your business. If whatever industry you're in, if you're looking at the fourth quarter, how are you going to evolve your business, reach out to your current consumers? What are they going to need from you as we hunker down into the fourth quarter? If you're in real estate, what do your clients need from you? If you're waiting until November or the snow falls, they're already making the decisions. Reach out to them now. Get in touch and find out what your database has in it. When the pandemic hit, we didn't have a choice as business owners. We literally had something happen to us, and whatever happened, you guys did great. Whether you handled it like a champ or you handled it very wrong and you only learned really good lessons halfway through it, it's okay. It doesn't matter, because it was the first time this probably has ever happened to you, ever. So whatever you did the best you could, okay, with what you were thrown at you. But as we head into this fourth quarter, there is no guessing game here. Reach out to your database and find out what's in it, who's going to need your help in the fourth quarter, who's not going to need your help in the fourth quarter, and ask them that. It's not a social call. If consumers are lacking loyalty, they're looking for innovation. They're looking for people to reach out to them before they have to be reached out to. Everybody should be on top of that. Start looking at what your business has in the pipeline. Again, if I was a personal trainer, the first thing I would be doing is going, wait a second, tons of people put on a lot of weight, okay, over the last little while. We're about to head into a winter season where people are going to be at home. They've already watched Netflix. They're going to be eating more than ever. What are you doing about it? Do you have an outdoor program? Do you have one-on-one training? Have you gone virtual? Get it together for Q4. And remember, you're going to see, like businesses, gyms, for example, they had 80% non-renewals. That's going to affect middle and middle management, okay, and they own houses. Things are going to be happening that are going to pivot and shift things around. That's why I'm hoping Canada has a massive amount of innovation down the pipeline, and I firmly believe that. Where do I see the market going? Again, I think it's going to slow down. It's very fragile. It is very fragile, and if this goes bad with a round 2 of COVID, then everything I'm saying is really not going to matter, because it's a different scenario. This is based on a vaccine coming through halfway through next year. This is not having a very bad outcome to phase 2 of this. So realistically, this is based on something that we're hoping goes the way that it's trending right now. And if it does, things look cautiously optimistic. There are, as we like to refer to, scars on the economy. Okay, there are going to be big scars on the economy. There are scars on human beings. There are people that are in very bad situations, and we may not be aware of it because there's been so much funding and we've seen so many things go down the pipeline. But I do believe that prices, because of low interest rates, prices will still be great. I believe that nothing's going to crash. I don't see that happening. I also think demand will stay strong. I think the spring market is probably going to trend to be very powerful, but I also think that there's no reason your businesses have to go backwards. Consumers want evolution. They want you to evolve the business. They want to feel safe. They want you to reach out to them ahead of time. I think, like I said, we're going to see spikes and we're going to see drops. I've never seen that before. In over 25 years of real estate, I've never seen such volatile ups and downs. You're feeling a little bit of softening, but I don't think that's going to carry through. I think it, like we talked about at the beginning of this call, there's a bigger, stronger recovery than they anticipated, so that happened, but I really do think that the recovery moving forward will lose a little bit of its momentum, and it will remain uneven, but it won't go backwards if things keep piling through the way that they do. So what I'm suggesting again is be really cautious to follow absorption numbers. If you're a realtor, follow your weekly absorption numbers. Watch the unemployment rates, okay? Unemployment rates affect consumer spending, but also consumer confidence. The more bad news, the more you're going to see the ebbs and flows, okay? But the number one thing as business owners that I really want you to get, okay, is that the fourth quarter does not have to be doom and gloom. The fourth quarter can be very strong for you, but you should be into it right now. Have your business plan ready to go. Crush the living shit out of it as far as I'm concerned. We've already, with all of our clients, sorry, I'm just doing a time check. With all of our clients, we've already done that. So it's really important, again, that you guys watch that. Have your business plans ready to go for the fourth quarter. Don't hold back. Think bigger and just watch. Every week we're going to try to cover some different area of our businesses in the month of October. Every Facebook Live is going to be about different levels of your business and how you can keep growing it, and we're going to invest in that. Okay, so we'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little economic update in Canadian market. We'll talk to you later. Bye.